Coming up next on This Week in Torrance, how the state is preparing for a heavy El Nino this winter.
Then why community colleges are pushing more students to attend orientation.
Plus, we've got the key to helping your kids perform their best at school come September.
And Torrance's beer industry is without a doubt booming, with 9 slated before the end of the year. We'll tell you what this means for the city.
These stories and much more are just seconds away.
Your local news starts right now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Week in Torrance. I'm Jin Chun.
And I'm Ben McCain. Thanks for joining us. Here are your top stories. Forecasters are predicting a winter of heavy rains, and while that might be good news for the drought, officials will have to plan for potential flooding as well. In a unanimous vote, Los Angeles County supervisors voted to call for a report on the county's state of preparedness for potentially heavy storms. El Nino is a weather phenomenon that involves the warming of ocean waters west of Peru, which causes a shift in the atmosphere that can dramatically change weather patterns worldwide. The 1997-98 El Nino brought heavy storms that killed 17 people and caused more than $550 million in damage for the state. And with the National Weather Service predicting this winter's storms to be as strong, officials want to make sure the state is as prepared as possible. The report will examine the capacity of the county to prevent flooding and capture stormwater to replenish groundwater basins. But flooding isn't the only concern. The staff will also look at the county's preparedness for wildfires that could be sparked by storms. A communications plan must also be in place to keep government agencies and the public well informed of weather-related emergencies. The report is due back in 30 days.
Until the El Nino storms come, the state's been pumping groundwater, which is having some unintended effects. Large areas of the state's Central Valley are sinking faster than in the past. According to a new research published by NASA, the rate of the sinking is much faster at 2 inches per month than in years before. Experts from the California Department of Water Resources say major damage has occurred to canals that deliver water up and down the state, and groundwater levels are reaching an all-time low. Groundwater provides supplies during times of drought, but with the state heading into its 5th consecutive year, we're seeing the consequences of excessive withdrawals.
If you're hoping to squeeze in a vacation before the school year begins, you may want to think again before heading to Yosemite National Park. The second person contracted what health officials call plague after visiting Yosemite National Park early this month. This came just 2 weeks after health officials announced a Los Angeles County child had contracted the disease while visiting the park with family in mid-July. Health officials found the plague in a squirrel and fleas in the Crane Flat campground, which was closed for 4 days and reopened. The California Department of Public Health is investigating areas where the person visited and actively educating visitors about the dangers of plague. While the risk that a human will contract the disease is low, people can become infected by flea bites or handling infected animals. Health officials say people should never feed small rodents like squirrels and chipmunks and avoid setting up near rodent burrows. Campers should also wear long pants and use bug repellent to keep fleas away. Symptoms include high fever, chills, nausea, weakness, and swollen lymph nodes. If left untreated, it can turn fatal. In California, there have been 42 human cases of plague since 1970, with 9 fatal.
While it may not have been good for the drought, the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge helped lead to a breakthrough. It was a challenge that went viral last year. Social media was filled with videos of people pouring ice cold water over their heads to raise money for ALS. More than 17 million people uploaded videos to Facebook, which raised more than $115 million in just 2 months. A new study published by Johns Hopkins researchers credits the Ice Bucket Challenge with helping to unravel a breakthrough finding. A protein called TDP43 was found to be dysfunctional in more than 90% of ALS cases. While there's no cure yet, researchers say the good news is the protein can be fixed, so more research can lead to the possibility of a cure or at least slow down the disease. The ALS Association says the money raised from the challenge helped triple the amount it spends on research every year. ALS is a progressive neurodegenerative disease that affects nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. Up to 15,000 people in the U.S. are suffering from the disease.
A popular coffee chain is turning their baristas into bartenders. Starbucks announced they are now serving beer and wine at a total of 70 locations nationwide, with plans to expand to locations in Southern California by the end of this year. The company first started testing its new Starbucks Evenings menu starting in Seattle in 2010 and is now expected to expand to locations in New York City, Northern California, Miami, and Denver. The company's menu offers a variety of wines as well as a selection of curated craft beers. The beverages are served alongside small plate dishes like truffle mac and cheese, chicken skewers, and flatbreads. The company hopes to have beer and wine out on the menu at 2,000 of its 12,000 coffee shops in America within the next 5 years.
Well, getting to and from LAX may soon get easier. Uber and Lyft are one step closer to being fully operational at Los Angeles International Airport. Despite some mixed opinions at LA City Hall, the council voted 3-2 to support a policy that would allow Uber and Lyft to seek permits to pick up airport passengers. The airport approved a permit plan last month, but council members chose to carry out their own review. The main topic of concern at the meeting was whether drivers for Uber and Lyft should be held to the same standards as taxi companies, such as being fingerprinted. Uber and Lyft hold their own screening process, but prosecutors found the background check Uber uses did not flag the criminal records of 25 drivers. The issue moves to the full council, where it will be voted on later this summer.
The founder of the Virgin Group is investing in a new field. Ring, a Santa Monica tech startup that sells a doorbell with a video camera, announced a $28 million investment. The majority comes from business mogul Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin Group, the parent company to popular airlines including Virgin America and Virgin Atlantic. Ring, valued just under $200, is a smart doorbell. It can talk to visitors via a smartphone app regardless of their location. The company claims to have caught multiple burglars and hopes to reduce crime in neighborhoods. Video recordings are saved online for $30 a year and provide a way to identify potential criminals. Branson is also an investor in the ride-sharing app Sidecar, as well as online clothing shop Tradesy.
ExxonMobil will face hefty fines as a result of the recent explosion at their Torrance refinery. The state of California's Division of Occupational Safety and Health issued the company's 19 citations for violations following the February explosion. The fines amount to $566,600. All but one of the 19 citations was classified as minor. The refinery was shut down following the incident and has focused on beginning large-scale production again as soon as sometime next month. The company submitted paperwork to the South Coast Air Quality Management District last week and is waiting for a response.
And to help prepare for that reopening, the Torrance refinery will be working on some road construction. Residents and commuters may experience a delay as work is done around the area. The project begins on Monday, August 31st, beginning with the inside of the refinery property as they plan to widen the delivery entrance for trucks at Gate 2. That's located near the corner of 190th Street and Prairie Avenue. Construction is expected to take place for approximately 2 weeks, and during this time, daily deliveries of asphalt will be made between the hours of 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. The deliveries will be made sporadically to avoid traffic congestion, but it is possible that if you're in the area, you will smell asphalt. Questions or concerns can be directed to the 24-hour neighborhood hotline at 310-505-3158, or to register for email updates about the Torrance refinery, go to ExxonMobilTorrance.com.
In a unanimous vote, the Torrance City Council voted this month to give an iconic landmark in the city a large makeover. After months of planning and incorporating the public's feedback, the city listened to a recommendation to approve a $120,000 renovation at Hickory Park. Dave Band and Associates, Inc. of Tustin, California, was selected to carry out the renovations. The rocket ship will be temporarily removed and reinstalled once the rest of the equipment is in place. No word yet on how long the construction will last. The 28-foot-tall rocket ship play structure has been a longtime icon of the park. Hickory Park is located at 2850 232nd Street on the corner of Juniper Avenue.
An envelope containing a mysterious white powder made its way to the local office of Assemblyman David Hadley. The envelope was delivered to the office in the 23200 block of Hawthorne Boulevard, which was immediately evacuated. A sheriff's hazardous materials team was brought on scene to determine if the substance was toxic. The Torrance Police Department is still unsure as to what the substance was.
Well, still ahead, details on the first ever libido boosting pill for women.
Plus, the booming brew industry and what it means for the city.
So they say it's a man's world? Well, I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were out doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. We changed all that. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Welcome back, everybody. A vintage Jaguar made its way home to Torrance, but with a completely new look. Malcolm Croxton, a Torrance resident, was looking forward to receiving his 1962 E-Type Jaguar he had bought for $50,000 from someone in the great state of Oklahoma. But when it was finally delivered, it was badly burned in the I-15 wildfire several months ago. The car was one of many abandoned on the freeway as the fire approached, but even with the burns, Croxton is excited for the car. He says while it could take up to 18 months and twice the amount of money, there's nothing that can't be fixed. And as for the color, Croxton says he's still deciding, but no charcoal, orange, or flames.
Well, Del Amo Fashion Center held a job fair in partnership with the Torrance Marriott in hopes of filling hundreds of new positions. Job seekers interested in retail and restaurant jobs had a chance to talk with hiring managers about available opportunities, submit resumes, and fill out applications right on site. Openings included part-time and full-time manager, sales associate, and stockroom positions, among many others. For ongoing updates and hiring opportunities, visit facebook.com/Del Amo Fashion Center.
And back from their weekend trip to San Diego, our Kashiwa delegates tested their cooking skills. The group headed to a local Ralph's on PCH and Cali Mayor Street to pick up some essentials before heading over to South High School, where they cooked up American classic dishes like Sloppy Joes and cheesecake. We'll bring you details on the food-filled day next week.
A new study released by the Beer Institute found the beer industry as a whole contributed more than $250 billion to the U.S. economy just in the last year alone. And here in Torrance, there's no denying the ever-increasing popularity of the craft brew scene. Jesse Pierre tells us more.
There's one industry in Torrance that's growing faster in popularity and in numbers. And the city's economic development manager, Fran Fulton, believes this is only the beginning.
The breweries that have been here, because they've been so successful, are already expanding. They're adding on their hours, they're building on larger footprints. 6
breweries in all, Torrance has become the mecca for craft breweries. From Smog City to Strand, Monkish to Dudes, Red Car, Absolution, and now the newest on the block, Schulb. Small business owners have found a place where they know business is friendly and welcomed.
You know, I think it really has to do with our process, our permit process. We are a business-friendly city, and these brewers are entrepreneurs. They're small business folks. And so time is money. Getting up and running as quickly as possible is very important to them.
The founders of Absolution Brewery were attracted to Torrance from the beginning.
Torrance was the only city council that said, we're beer positive, we want to create a beer industry.
Absolution specializes in unique craft beers using English ale techniques. Chief Tasting Officer Nigel Heath is happy to say they sell every ounce they produce.
So we're going through a 4x expansion of the brewery here already. We're a year and a half old. So that's going to generate a whole bunch more jobs here in Torrance.
Torrance's Senior Planning Associate, Danny Santana, and Fulton know this expansion benefits other industries as well.
Them being able to cluster with one another, it's created other growth industries. So you've seen a retail store that caters to the home brewer enthusiast.
The breweries have also had a positive impact on our tourism bureau, on Discover Torrance. It's been something that they've highlighted to attract visitors to Torrance. So for the money that they spend at the breweries, and also potentially for other stores and restaurants and potentially staying at our hotels, that adds up to other dollars that come to Torrance too.
From brewers to beer distributors to retailers and possibly 9 breweries in the city of Torrance by the end of this year, we know one thing for sure: the beer industry is growing. For Torrance City Cable, I'm Jessie Pierre.
Thanks, Jesse. Cosmic Ales has signed a lease for a 5,000 square foot brewery and tasting room in Torrance. They hope to be open by the end of the year. They will be located at 20316 Gramercy Place, right around the corner from 3 existing craft breweries.
For the first time, the FDA has cleared the way for a libido-boosting pill for women, commonly referred to as pink Viagra. The once-a-day salmon-colored pill offers women suffering from low sex drive a boost to their sexual desire by increasing levels of brain chemicals. Research showed a modest rise in sexual desire. Studies show about 8.3% of women between 30 and 70 in the U.S. suffer from lack of sexual desire, and peaks between the ages of 40 and 60. Common side effects of the drug include dizziness, sleepiness, nausea, and fatigue. The pill is expected to be available by October 17th this year. For more information, visit addyi.com.
For decades, doctors have told patients to eat less saturated fat in order to prevent heart disease, and now there's more to the story. A new report published found that cutting out saturated fat from your diet doesn't necessarily lower the risk of heart disease. People who reduce their intake of fat usually end up eating more sugar, white flour, and empty calories. While reducing intake of saturated fat does reduce the risk of heart attacks, replacing those fats with healthier foods is key. Whole grains, fruits and vegetables, and foods with polyunsaturated fats are healthy replacements. Rather than focusing on reducing saturated fat, experts say to choose fats with benefits such as those found in almonds, salmon, and avocados.
Back to school means earlier mornings for students, but a new report says early starts may not be the best for their health. A new study released by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found that 83% of schools start before 8:30 a.m., which means most teens aren't getting enough sleep. The American Academy of Pediatrics encouraged middle and high school students to start no earlier than 8:30 a.m. in order to make sure teens get the recommended 8.5 to 9.5 hours of sleep. Look at these poor kids, man, it's terrible. Teens are biologically programmed to stay up later at night than adults, which makes it difficult for them to wake up early enough to make it to school on time. While the average adult's body gets sleepy from about 11 p.m. to 6:30 a.m., the typical teen body wants to sleep from midnight or 1 a.m. until 8 or 9 a.m., but many schools worry a later start time would make it difficult to schedule after-school sporting events and practices, which often require taking buses. The CDC found that high school students are chronically sleep-deprived, failing to get 8 hours of sleep on a school night. Teenagers who don't get enough sleep are at a higher risk for being overweight, depressed, and more likely to use alcohol and drugs.
Community colleges are making a big push to guide students towards success. Community college officials are concerned that students are skipping out on an important part of their college experience, the orientation. It's a critical part where students learn how to register for classes and take placement tests to make sure they're in the right class level. Two-year college officials say meeting with counselors and taking placement tests before classes begin is a critical part to academic success. Studies show that students who go through an orientation are more likely to pass their classes and graduate than those who don't. So colleges like El Camino have been pushing to get higher participation for orientation, making it a requirement before students are allowed to register for classes. And under a new state law, funding for community colleges will be partially tied to the percentage of students who attend orientation.
Well, still ahead, some upcoming events you won't want to miss.
And a special event for some new brides-to-be.
Ma. In your new role, we help you help. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who once took care of you.
Welcome back, everybody. The Torrance Unified School District Nutrition Services Department is hosting a series of workshops to help parents fill out meal applications before school starts. Parents will have access to translation assistance during the workshops, as well as guidance on how to fill out the application using the Nutrition Services online system. Workshops will be available several days beginning Monday, August 24th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Monday's workshop will take place at Seaside Elementary School's Computer Lab. Japanese translation will be available on Tuesday, August 25th. The workshop takes place at the Towers Elementary School Computer Lab with Korean translation available. On Thursday, August 27th, Torrance Elementary School's Computer Lab will host the workshop with Spanish translation available, and the last session will take place on Friday, August 28th at North High School's Toyota Lab, also with Spanish translation available. For a complete list of schedules and addresses, call 310-972-6350. And the Torrance Art Museum is celebrating its 10th anniversary with a special fundraiser called An Odyssey. The event will feature artworks from various artists sold for $100 each. It takes place September 12th from 6 to 10 p.m. at 3320 Civic Center Drive. The event is free and open to the public. Robbins Brothers gives back to their clients in a memorable way. Jesse Pierre shows us how.
Planning a wedding is hard enough, so Robbins Brothers is throwing a special party to make it a little easier for couples.
This is an engagement party that we're hosting for all of our Robbins Brothers clients that have gotten engaged over the past year, and we just really wanted to show them, our support and also our local vendors. So we've reached out to some of the local vendors within our city, and it's just a great way for us to put them in touch with our awesome clients.
Tony Phillips, who's worked with the company for 15 years, never gets tired of helping couples find the perfect ring. And this mini bridal expo experience is designed to do just that.
You wouldn't have to go to one place or another, especially in like LA traffic. So it makes it really easy to just come to one place, and being able to look at rings and dresses and different foods and the DJ, it's all fun. It's a good fun thing. It's not a chore, it's fun.
The special event featured everything from luxury DJs to a local florist and a one-of-a-kind boutique that does it all.
Everything from, that perfect dress for the rehearsal dinner, maybe intimates for the honeymoon. We have hanky-panky, and some other lines. It's hard to find, all these little pieces in one store, and we really pride ourselves on it at the Urban Clothes Horse.
Having all these vendors in one location is giving Jana Purcell, a client, many different wedding day ideas. Coming back to this store brings back a special memory she shares with her now husband.
We got an email saying that we're having a giveaway. I got a little keychain, and then we were browsing around, going to dinner afterwards. But next thing I know, he's on one knee here in the back of the shop.
Brandon Clark, a Robbins Brothers employee, has created unforgettable memories for many clients. And now he's doing it for the special woman in his life. He invited his girlfriend, Bernadette Gurney, to check out some diamonds.
I was hoping she would be picky, but no. There's so far nothing she really, truly loves. So that's what I'm looking for, is the one.
Clark is convinced he will find the perfect ring for his girlfriend, and since he has a few years of experience planning proposals, he has a few special tricks up his sleeve.
I'm a proposal expert. I'm gonna be what's up when it comes to it. I have some things in play that I want to definitely do.
Robbins Brothers has been serving the community of Torrance for over 18 years, and this is a great event to bring local vendors and the community together for their engagement needs. For Torrance City Cable, I'm Jesse Pierre.
Thanks, Jesse. If you are planning to propose, Robbins Brothers can help you through their perfect proposal package and provide you with a team of experts to make your proposal seamless. Visit stores.robbinsbrothers.com/Torrance. Well, that does it for us on This Week in Torrance. I'm Ben McCain. If you've missed any portion of our show, you can catch us again at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m.
And I'm Jin Chun. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.